Drum dummy.
Shalom, shalom. Shalom, 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 shalom. Okay.
Shalom.
Shalom, One Nation Israelite School.
Shalom.
All right. Shalom to the Facebook. Shalom to YouTube. Once again, I'm your host with the most, Commander Judea. And with me,
Solomon the Benjamite.
Solomon the Benjamite. Happy Feast of Dedication, also known as Hanukkah, which y'all do know kicked off last night sundown. We're coming in to give you a class. Before we get into the class, I want to start with a little open discussion thing that's going on. All right, I want to touch this article that Solomon shared earlier. I guess I'll get to it. The article that I just had you pull. So, happy Feast of Dedication. For those who don't know what the Feast of Dedication is, it's also known as Hanukkah. We'll definitely go into the history of it tonight, which will be brought to you live by none other than Solomon the Benjamite.
Big history.
All right. Myself, I just want to touch a quick something that's going on, because you got to understand this damn devil that we're battling with.
Oh my God.
So if you could, whenever you're ready, drop that piece on him. The beginning, and then go into the grades and things.
It says children as young as 5 are being taught about homosexuality and sexual intercourse.
Right. So it says children, how young?
As old as 5 years old.
Right. So children as young as 5 years old are being taught about homosexuality. You got to understand that the devil we dealing with is playing on a whole nother rim. Yeah. Right. Like, now if you had the logical sense to sit there and you think about it, why in the hell would this devil want to teach it to your child as 5 years old, the youngest 5 years old? Why would they want that? Like, You think about it. They allow kids to start school.
Right.
So they tackling them as soon as they come in with it, right?
Right.
They're teaching our children to break what law? Instantly.
Homosexuality law.
Right. Let's somebody get a precept for me. Y'all understand this is a war, and this isn't a war that you can just walk up and just beat somebody up behind it. This is a somebody get the door.
Yeah, get the door.
This is a totally different type of war that you're dealing with. This isn't a war where you're gonna go in there with fisticuffs and win this battle, right? So where's your Bible and stuff?
I had brought it down.
You sitting in the battlefields. So
I gotta use the restroom real quick.
So yeah. Give me that what you got.
Leviticus chapter 20 and verse 13. If a man also lie with mankind, as he lied with a woman, both of them have committed abomination. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them.
So more than like that.
Oh, I got it.
So read that again.
Leviticus chapter 20 and verse 13. If a man also lie with mankind, as he lies with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them.
Right. So the scriptures tell you that if a man lays with a woman, a man lays with a man in the same fashion he will lay with a woman, they shall surely be put to death. That's telling you that if a man and a woman are having sex, if a man is having sex with another man, God is going to kill you. If a woman is touching another woman in an inappropriate manner, they are going to die behind it. Now, this is a war that they're attacking our kids heads on with. So you know what that's telling you? A lot of you other Israelite camps that got this special way you want to teach it. You want to hide this from your children. You want to hide that. Your children are going to be. Your children are going to that little seed, that little grain that's planted is going to be buried inside of them. And eventually, through a process of time, if you continue to sugarcoat it and continue to hide it, you know what's going to happen? They're going to start questioning themselves. We have to meet the devil here. I understand the Lord that we with. Give me Exodus 15:3. Understand the Lord that we are with. What kind of Lord do we serve? What is our God? Right. Let's get that real quick. And I know y'all like, man, this is a man war. Exactly. Why? Because we're in a war. 15:3.
Exodus chapter 15 and verse 3. The Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name.
The Lord is a man of war, and the Lord is his name. Now, why would I bring that up in a situation like this? Because the God that we serve is a man of war, right? So now, when you think about that, to be up under a man of war, you have to be a warrior. Is a warrior scared of the battle?
No.
Does the warrior back down from the battle?
No.
No, the warrior must be ready to take the war head on, right? So now the Lord that we serve is a man of war. So this is telling you what? Let's go to Ephesians. I'm gonna find it real quick. As a fact, let's go to the I'm gonna get it real quick and then I'll tell y'all what I want you to hear. Go to 1 Corinthians chapter 10 and start at verse 4. Shalom, shalom.
1 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 4.
Right.
And they all drank.
No, it's like I said first.
Yeah.
Second Corinthians 10 and 4. 2 Corinthians 10 and 4. Y'all forgive me.
2 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 4. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal.
So this isn't a carnal war that we have in here. The Lord that we serve is a man of war. So guess what? I'm telling you all to gird up for the war, but the war that you fighting is not a carnal war. Come on.
But mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds.
Come on.
Casting down imagination and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of God.
So we're going to cast down imaginations and every false thing that exalted itself against God. Like, what would be exalting itself against God? The fact that now these devils want to teach our children to be homosexuals, transgenders, and everything before their brain even fully develop on, like,
Right.
Life period.
right, like at 5 years old, a child should have no thoughts of, do I like men? Do I like women? Sex, period.
All right.
But now, if the devil is bringing it to your kids, then what do you have to do?
I'm gonna have to teach them what's right and wrong about it.
You got to beat them to the punch.
Right.
And guess what? He's going to fight with visuals. So you better be ready to take the war head on. And if you're going to back down from the war, then hell, we'll see your child a couple of years from now. If you got a daughter, she'll be rocking a low fade with the parts in it. And if you got a son, he'll be wearing his stitches and glue tips and all this other stuff. So it's time to take the war head on. The Lord we serve is a man of war. So guess what it tells you? You better be ready for warfare. But what we read here is showing you that the war is not carnal. Finish this verse.
And bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ.
We're going to bring forth every thought of disobedience into captivity and make it follow the obedience of Christ.
Right.
Watch this. Now go to Ephesians.
You know this dumb saying what they have over here, like they like saying that. You know the dumb saying they got over here saying that my child gave him accept him and love him and all that. That's only in America. That's an Americanized mindset. In every other country, you know what they do? They disown their child. The child asks for help, say, nah, you're not mine. Say, get your I'm leaving alone.
Right. So only in America they teach you it's wrong to hate your child if your child decides I want to be a homosexual.
Right.
Which is a contradiction to me because it's in God we trust. And God tells you if you are homosexual, I hate your ass. And then not only do I hate you, but if you don't repent, I'm going to kill you.
Right.
Then what the heck? Who are you to tell me I'm wrong for feeling the same way?
It's because on the devil they trust.
Well, I just get Ephesians chapter 6 and understand this. Watch this. Ephesians. What did I just call?
Ephesians chapter 6.
All right. Watch this. Remember when we started at verse 12. Remember when I was saying that the war that we fight is not carnal.
Yeah.
Watch this.
Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities.
So it's telling you right there, the war that you fight in here is not a war that you can go in and this ain't about how good we throw them hands on this one. No, this thing is spiritual. It's a totally different realm that you fighting in now.
Different playing field.
Right. Come on.
Against powers. Against
who?
Against powers.
Come on. The demonic powers that rule America. Come on.
Against the rules of the darkness.
The rulers.
Oh, against the rulers of the darkness.
Come on.
Of this world. Against spiritual wickedness in high places.
Right, because a lot of times you hear people say Illuminati. The ones who work things from behind the curtains. Mm-hmm. Symbolically true.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But this is what I'm showing you is this is a totally different level. Our sword in this thing is our Bibles. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Commandments is our shield and such, which I'm going to break it down in this context in this verse here. Right? So watch this now. Jump back to, matter of fact, read on. We'll just explain it as we go. Read on. So, no, as a fact, hold that, because I want to get a thought again. Remember I was saying, what age do they allow kids to start school?
Around that fucking
Right. So now read that piece again in that article. Read it again. I want you to hear how early they're attacking them again. And then I want you to go to Daniel's for me.
Children as young as 5 are being taught about homosexuality and sexual intercourse.
Whoa. So they didn't stop at teaching them homosexuality. Then they go into teaching them the sexual intercourse that come with it.
That's tough. At
age 5, your child shouldn't even be thinking about that. But they're going to put it in front of them. So what does that tell you? We are past the level in this war where we can sugarcoat it and hide this and hide. We past that now. It's time to just be blood raw.
It was like that in the biblical times. You didn't hear nobody sugarcoating or hide nothing from their children. It was like, look, this what it is and this what it ain't.
Right. I'm grown. You can't do this until such and such. If I catch you doing it, I'm gonna break your ass. It is what it is. I'm saying, but you're gonna have to get to the point now where it's got to come out. You can hide it, and I'm telling you, if you decide you want to be like some of these other Israelite camps where it's a special truth that they teach their kids, okay. We'll see your kid in a couple of years. Tight ass pants.
My man.
Or your daughter rocking a low fade with a hairline up cleaner than mine.
That's tough.
Well, just go to Daniel. Give me Daniel's chapter.
You gotta ask who a barber is.
Daniel chapter 1 and start at verse 3. To the warrior.
Daniel chapter 1 and verse 3. Daniel chapter 1 and verse 3. And the king spake unto Ashpenaz,
go ahead.
the master of the eunuchs.
Now the eunuchs is those that remember in slavery how they would cut our privates off. If they cut your private off, they would call you a eunuch.
Castration.
Come on. Oh, castration. All right, yeah, that's it. Go ahead.
That he shall bring certain of the children of Israel.
So he wanted certain of the children of Israel. Come on.
And of the king's seed and of the princes. Children in whom was no blemish.
So he wanted children with no blemish. Come on.
But well favored. And skillful in all wisdom.
Come on. So that telling you they wanted the best of the Israelite children. Now, understand this. Why do they want the best of the children of Israel? Those that were smart, those that had the ability to learn, those who could learn etiquette, those who were skillful and favored and beautiful with no blemishes. Why do you think they wanted those young children in this captivity?
So when they come up, they'll still continue to push their agendas.
Because
I guess other kids will be trying to be like them.
That's one. That and what you said. Tell me another reason. Why do you think they want to get the kids as young as possible to start teaching them their ways? Right. Bingo, because a child's mind is the sponge. So you can teach a child anything if you get to them early enough.
Right.
Once you start growing older, you start to get stuck in your ways. You start to, okay, I do this way now. I don't know. The hell what you talking about? I do this. You know what I'm saying? As a child, you can shape and form their mind the way you want to. So now, just like in this captivity, it's the same thing that's going back down now in this captivity. Because what you know what most parents are doing right now? Hanging, chilling, drinking. They ain't concerned with nothing their kids got going on.
Yeah, the big club.
So now what you think they doing? Okay, well, while you sleeping, they preaching.
All right.
While you sleeping, they teaching.
All right.
So they wanted our kids in the captivity. This, I'm telling you, it's spiritual. Everything you see going on now, it happened then. We just got a worse form of it now. You want to know why? Because we're in the worst captivity of them all.
Yeah, remember in Timothy's, it told us to be prepared for these perilous times.
Right.
Perilous times.
Right. Right.
Because even another scripture said that things are going to get worse.
Right. In the last days. Right. So now, read that article again, and then we're gonna go back to Ephesians, and then I'm gonna step down, and the warrior can come up for y'all to go into the feast of dedication.
It says, children as young as 5 are being taught about homosexuality and sexual intercourse. Sex ed in schools starts at the age of 5 years through 8 years old. Intercourse and homosexuality. That's
so
what they teach.
If your child is anywhere from 5 to 8, they're gonna be teaching them homosexuality and intercourses. Yeah, say pretty much homo courses. Go ahead.
the ages of 9 and 12 years old, it says
contraception
and gay marriage.
Okay, hold on. Let me read it from the top again while I try to pull up this thing real quick.
Okay, it says children as young as 5 are being taught about homosexuality and sexual intercourse. Sex ed in schools, ages start at 5 through 8 years old, intercourse and homosexuality. Ages 9 through 12 years old, contraception and gay marriage.
All right, hold on. Ever since I done downloaded this thing been popping ads up.
Been doing that same thing to me.
It's messing up my movements.
It's crazy.
Okay, contraception is basically, it says overview. Birth control is the act of preventing pregnancy. Methods including medication, procedures, devices, and behaviors. Availability.
Wow.
Some methods, such as condoms, are widely available at drugstores. Other methods, such as prescription pills, require seeing a doctor or whatever.
That's the same thing.
Yeah.
Going into
So-
the intercourse.
So, huh?
Double shot.
Yeah. Now,
That's
think
true.
about this. You want to know why contraception is a terrible thing?
Birth control.
Because it's population control for the Israelites.
Right.
Not only that, you know what that teaches a child. If I could, like condoms, I'm gonna tell you why condoms is a terrible invention.
It is.
I'm gonna tell you why. Because with condoms, it doesn't teach you not to have sex until you're ready.
Right.
It teaches you, long as I have this, I can do it.
Right.
You know what that means? With them teaching your children all this type of stuff, different ways to avoid pregnancies, it means it teaches them to what?
It's okay. That's it.
Right.
One thing, that's one, but there's another thing. The one that's big that we may be missing. It teaches your children that they can sneak and do it.
Right.
And you won't find out because what? I took the methods to avoid pregnancy. You know that's going to promote in our future? STDs.
Right. Very sneakiness.
All right. So now you got to attack these issues head on. I ain't going too deep with y'all. I'm just prophesying a little bit. Okay, let's go. Let's go.
Y'all look at the race now. Orlando.
Atlanta.
Yeah, Orlando and Atlanta have one of the highest STD rates right now.
That's
Right.
wild.
Atlanta number 1 in HIV now. I mean AIDS. They done went past HIV.
That's tough.
You remember it was San Francisco. I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's a
cause
whole bunch of doing fruitcakes right
that's
now.
tough. You feel me? Yeah, coffee.
That's what's going on.
Right.
And they said Orlando was what number now?
That's
I remember
tough.
when they did the Jones area when they was testing that. I was like, dang, I was surprised to hear that number.
That shit was crazy.
You think about it, all right, all right. But they gonna teach y'all as long as you telling this, you doing that, you can do it.
You catch something from where it comes. Big prostate cancer.
So now, finish out the article real quick.
And
So
shit.
contraception, I know that's where you stopped at.
Contraception and gay marriage.
And gay marriage, teaching your children to be homosexuals. Now, why would they teach that in one level and then bring it back in the next level?
All right.
They want to embed it into you. Repetition.
All right.
Go ahead.
Then the ages from 12 to 15 years old, transgender issues.
Right. So now I put in your mind, it's okay for you to be a man to be with another man, a woman with another woman. You know what? Eventually you'll start questioning. That's what you hear people, I was really meant to be a girl when I was born.
Yeah, I heard him say I got a spirit of a woman.
Right.
A man body.
So after teaching you homosexuality so long, if we don't counter it, eventually you'll question, okay, well, am I supposed to be a dude? Am I supposed to be a woman? And then they'll come and top it off with the, no, you can choose what you're supposed to be.
Right.
So think about that. That's the devil we fighting. But we're gonna beat y'all know we don't sugarcoat it. We're gonna beat their ass in here. If one nation can't save you, it ain't no hope.
Get out of here, coach.
Watch this. Go back to Ephesians now. Let's go back to Ephesians, and we're gonna finish it here, and then I'm gonna let you come up and read for Solomon. Yeah, and go ahead and start at verse 13.
Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 13. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God.
So wherefore take to you the whole armor of God. Why? Because remember, we fighting a spiritual war now. So it says, go ahead and take on the armor of God. Now, God ain't gonna come down here and hand you a sword, a shield, and all that. So this is letting you know this is symbolic. Why? Because it's a spiritual fight. So take the armor of God. Come on.
That ye may be able to withstand in the evil day.
Withstand in the evil day.
And having done all, to stand.
Right. So take the commandments and the laws with you. Take this word of God, wear it as your armor, that you may be able to stand in the evil day. And the evil day is now, goddammit. Come on.
Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth.
Come on. So you got to have your loins, meaning the pants that you wear, got to be girded with truth. Now, what is the truth?
Keeping the laws and commandments.
Right, the laws, the keeping of the laws. So if you gird your loins is girded with the laws, this is how now you can understand that this armor that it's talking about is actually talking about this word of God. It says having your loins girded with truth, meaning the laws. Come on.
And having on the breastplate of righteousness.
And having on a breastplate of righteousness. What's in your breast? Your heart. Having your mind girded with what?
Righteousness.
Righteousness, which is the commandments. But the breastplate in this analogy is talking about the thing where they shoot arrows and hit nothing but metal on the chest. So now you're girding yourself with the commandments. So your pants is the laws, your chest plate for protection is the commandments. Come on.
And your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace.
The gospel of peace. And remember, the gospel is the good news. The good news is what? That Christ is coming back for you Israelites. So now, you remember, if you ever seen them war movies, they used to have this metal piece covering their feet. So if the arrows come down, it don't stab their foot.
Right.
So now saying, so now you got an analogy here. The Bible says, make sure your pants is girded with truth, make sure your chest is covered with the commandments, and make sure your feet is shielded with the gospel. Come on.
Above all, taking the shield of faith.
Taking the shield of faith. Now the shield is your faith. The shield is what you put to block all that nonsense out. Make sure that's filled with faith. Come on.
Wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked.
Right, because the fiery darts is every wicked thing that this kingdom gonna throw at you. So now you finding out why you need to be girded up. Prepare for the spiritual war. I got a class, so now I happens to love it. It's called Gird Up for the Spiritual War. Watch the class. Come on.
And take the helmet of salvation.
And do what?
Take the helmet of salvation.
Now, why did the Most High just break this down into full armor? You want to know why? He says, put on the helmet of salvation, right? Mm-hmm. Because if you don't got your head covered in this war, bam, headshot. So now you got your helmet on, but you forgot your breastplate. Okay, bam, bam, fill his chest up with it. Okay, you got your chest covered up, but your legs is ungirded. Okay, we'll shoot him to the legs. Okay, his legs covered with them. His feet ain't, so throw arrows at his feet. So the Bible is telling you cover all the way down, so there's no chance to get a head shot, there's no chance to get a chest shot, there's no chance to get a foot shot, or to take your legs out. Come on.
And the sword of the Spirit.
And the sword of the Spirit. What is our sword?
This Bible.
The Bible. So now, because why? Because in the last days, we were going to have to fight a spiritual war against the wickednesses in high places. Jump back to verse.
Let me finish that real quick.
Go ahead.
Yes. And the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God.
Right.
All right. So now jump back to verse 11. Now the Bible has told you put on all this armor. Here's why.
Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 11. Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil.
The Bible says, put on the whole armor of the Lord, that you may be able to stand against the wiles or the tricks of the devil. So with that being said, I'm going to yield it and let y'all go into the Feast of Dedication class. I just want to touch that real quick because that was the thing that popped up today. And understand, we're in a spiritual war. And you better be ready to fight back. And the reason why I say it ain't time to bow down or buckle down, because the Lord that we serve is a man of war. So if he's a man of war, common sense tells you what? You better be ready for war.
All right.
All right, shalom.
Shalom.
Now you come on up and read.
Dang.
Happy Feast of Dedication.
Happy Feast of Dedication.
Shit, I'm getting old, good.
Good job. Woo! I'm just lying. I'm waiting for my reader to get situated.
He said you asked what? Oh, got you doing. Oh shit, he's still alive.
Yeah. So as you know, today is the Feast of Dedication, also known as the Feast of Lights, also known as Hanukkah. We must treat today as a Sabbath. But the only difference between the Sabbath and the Feast of Dedication is, yeah, I see where you're going. But you can cook on this day. So it's like a Sabbath. You can't buy, trade, work, sell. You can't do none of those. But you can cook. That's the difference between the Sabbath and the Feast of Dedication. Now, the Feast of Dedication, also known as Hanukkah, is what we need to be celebrating. We don't need to be celebrating no Christmas. No, it can't amount or come close to the Feast of Dedication or any of God's high holy days that He set up. So let's start it off with getting Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 1 through 5. There's a lot of history in this right here, coach. I just don't know. There's a lot.
All right. Jeremiah chapter 10 and verse 1. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the sign of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them.
So the Most High told you. Read that one more time, please.
Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them.
Right, so the Most High God told us, don't learn the ways of the heathen. Because the ways of the heathen are wicked ways. Ways that we should not learn or even try to practice, knowing that we are God's holy people. The Most High God says the heathen are dismayed at them. The heathen are afraid of them. For we're not supposed to be afraid of them because we serve the one and true Most High God, right? Let me get verse 3.
For the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe.
So now, when we read this, a lot of our people like to play confused, like to play crazy. Like they don't know what it says, like they have no comprehension or understanding. If the scripture just said that I go into the forest to cut a tree down, then read what 4 says.
They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not.
So if I go into the forest with my axe and cut down a tree, then I bring it home to decorate it, that means I'm celebrating something. That's what it is. The Most High, it's Christmas. The Most High said you're not supposed to be celebrating that thing. It's wicked, it's vain. It's not our custom. It's the heathen custom. But we have a custom that the Most High gave us to be celebrating.
Right.
Which is the Feast of Dedication. And it's a glorious feast day. Way better than stink ass Christmas.
Yeah.
Whatever be. Now let's get a scripture that shows you that Christ himself kept the Feast of Dedication. Christ, the greatest example. He kept the Feast of Dedication. Are we better than him? No. He's an example to us. So we should follow his lead, follow his example. Let me get John chapter 10 and verse 22.
Is it 22?
Yeah, John chapter 10 and verse 22.
John chapter 10 and verse 22. John chapter 10 and verse 22. And it was at Jerusalem the feast of the dedication, and it was winter. And Jesus walked in the temple in Solomon's porch.
So it shows you that Christ himself kept the feast of dedication. So we're going to do that same thing because it is a law and commandment. This also shows that the feast of dedication was kept in the time of winter. This is not Christ's birthday, December 25th. That's not his birthday. The feast of dedication was kept in the winter time. I don't know what they come up with this madness for. They try to do anything to deceive you so you'll celebrate some wickedness.
Right.
Let me get verse 23.
Verse 23. And Jesus walked in the temple in Solomon's porch. Then came the Jews round about him and said unto him, How long dost thou make us to doubt? If thou be the Christ, tell us plainly.
All right, so as we seen that our people came to questioning Christ. But this shows that, once again, he did keep the Feast of Dedication. And if you want to read about it, you can read about it in the Apocrypha. So it's very important this book was all the original Bibles. I'm talking about the Apocrypha included inside of the Bible. It's in the 1611 King James. That's the full Bible with the Apocrypha in it. So don't let nobody come to you and tell you that the Apocrypha is not important. How you going to read about the Christ keeping the Feast of Dedication? How you going to read about the Feast of Dedication? You need the Apocrypha. Okay, let's get the prophecy. Let's start with Daniel chapter 8 and verse 8. Get the prophecy about this Feast of Dedication.
You said who?
Daniel chapter 8 and verse 8.
Daniel chapter 8 and verse 8. Daniel chapter 8 and verse 8. Therefore the he-goat waxed very great. And when he was strong, the great horn was broken. And for it came up four notable ones toward the four winds of heaven.
All right, so this is an important part of the history. It's a reason why. This is why that part is very important. The he-goat that was waxed great was Alexander the Great, with Alexander the Greek. And when he was the most strong was when all the dark-skinned nations were subdued under him. He then died. And do anybody in here know why he died? Nobody don't know why Alexander the Greek died?
No.
From a venereal disease.
Oh, really?
That boy was a big fruit cup, fruit pound cake, all that. That's why he died. But you go look through the histories of the Greeks and that they make him seem like he's such a big bad man. You like this little other man too. But now give me First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 1. We're gonna read through 9. First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 1 through 9. First Mac. Oh well, if you want mine, Apocrypha, you can get it. All right. It's First Maccabees. It's gonna be an Apocrypha. That's why I asked you, do you want it? So you get.
So why y'all use this one then?
Well, it's the Bible. The full Bible was the 1611 King James, which had the Apocrypha in it. Yeah, it do. It's just that now if you try to look for it, you either gonna pay an arm and leg for it, or you gotta go to a library and try to check it out.
But how this mean something if they don't have the real scriptures? This should mean.
No, it got the real scriptures in that. It just don't got the Apocrypha in it.
Yeah, because it's been taken out. You don't read
right.
that. It's taken out, right?
What you talking about? This?
This. It's been taken out and put in.
What are you saying? You said something been taken out and put in.
See how the Apocryphy, some verses like Sirach is not in here?
Yeah.
So while we're reading this, if they have taken it out of it, you're not supposed to be messing with something that they have tampered with, right?
But isn't the Bible important?
Yeah, but this is not important because they tampered with it.
All right.
No.
Right? No.
We'll get back to that. Let's finish.
Yeah.
Let me explain.
What are you gonna do?
All right. When it comes to the Apocrypha in the Bible, the Christian, St. Protestant, Catholic Church removed the Apocrypha from the Bible because it was hiding. I mean, it was exposing who they are because the Apocrypha brings out their history. And if you can read their history, then you'll be able to see that, oh, damn, they are the Bible, the devil that the Bible's talking about. So when they took those books out, they didn't change anything. They just took them out to try to hide them from you.
Right.
That's why we call them the hidden books. But nothing's actually, like, this is just a translation. But the only thing is, if they, I'll be repeating myself. If they left it in there, it would be too blatant for you to see it. Because if you read the Bible, you'll see it has every captivity in it. But then it's missing the Greeks. And this is what the Greek captivity is.
Like if you read right now into it, and you show me the Greek history in it, you won't be able to find it. Just like when it was talking about the Feast of Dedication. You're not going to be able to read the Feast of Dedication. It's going to mention it in the Bible, but you have to read the Feast of Dedication in the Apocrypha. They took it out of there because the information in the Apocrypha is very important. It started exposing them, and it started showing us who we are even more. And while we are while we act like them, I told you to go to First Maccabees, start at chapter 1, verse 1.
First Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 1. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his state, the first over Greece, and made many wars and won many strongholds, and slew the kings of the earth, and went through to the ends of the earth, and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted and his heart was lifted up. And he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tributaries unto him.
Yeah, you can keep reading. We're going through verse 9.
All right. And after these things he fell sick and perceived that he should die. Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable, and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. So Alexander reigned 12 years and did die. And his servants did rule every one in his place. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years. And evils were multiplied in the earth.
Right. So prior to his death, he divided his empire among 4 of his most notable generals towards the 4 kingdoms of his realms. Doesn't this sound familiar? Because we just read that. We read that in Daniel's.
Mm-hmm.
Now let me give you some of the generals' name who reigned at the time. 1, the first general was General Cassander. He was given Macedonia. General Lysimachus, he was given Thrace, Asia Minor. General Seleucus was given Syria. And General Ptolemy was given Egypt. These who were reigning over those 4 kingdoms at that time. Now let's go back to Daniel chapter 8 and give me verse 9.
Daniel chapter 8 and verse 9.
Right.
Daniel chapter 8 and verse 9. And out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceedingly great, toward the south, and toward the east, and toward the pleasant land. And it waxed great, even to the host of heaven. And it cast down some of the hosts and of the stars to the ground, and stamped upon them.
You started at verse 9, right?
Yeah.
All right. So out of those generals, which was General Seleucus, came forth his son, Antiochus, who became exceeding great and extended his rulership over the south, which is Egypt. So let's get that in Daniel chapter 11 and 5. So you see how from the Apocrypha to here, it's showing you the same thing, but the history, Daniel was already prophesying this was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So he was just breaking it down. He was like, look, man, this is what I seen in my vision. Daniel chapter 11 and verse 9.
Daniel chapter 11.
Verse 5, my fault.
Daniel chapter 11 and verse 5. And the king of the south shall be strong, and one of his princes, and he shall be strong above him, and have dominion. His dominion shall be a great dominion. And in the end of years, they shall join themselves together. For the king's daughter of the south shall come to the king of the north to make an agreement. But she shall not retain the power of the arm, neither shall he stand nor his arm. But she shall be given up, and they that brought her, and he that begot her, and he that strengthened her in these times.
Right. So this right here lets you know what happened when Antiochus became king of the south.
Mm-hmm.
He had so much help around him from the others because Antiochus was one of the most wicked, beside Alexander the Greek. It told you when he came into rulership, the wickedness in the earth multiplied. That's Alexander the Greek. And then Antiochus just kept that wickedness, and he just kept it going. Now let me get 1 Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 16.
First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 16. Now when the kingdom was established before Antiochus, he thought to reign over Egypt, that he might have the dominion of 2 realms.
So the 2 realms that was talked about, that, you know what, let's get it. Let's get it in 1 Maccabees chapter 6 and verse 1. 1 Maccabees chapter 6 and verse 1.
First Maccabees chapter 6 and verse 1.
Get the 2 kingdoms that was talked about in that verse.
First Maccabees chapter 6 and verse 1. About that time, King Antiochus, traveling through the high countries, heard say that Elymas in the country of Persia was a city greatly renowned for riches, silver and gold.
Can you read?
And that there was in it a very rich temple, wherein were coverings of gold, and breastplates and shields, which Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian king, who reigned first among the Grecians, had left there. Wherefore he came and sought to take the city and to spoil it, but he was not able, because they of the city, having had warning thereof, rose up against him in battle. So he fled and departed thence with great heaviness and returned to Babylon.
Right there. So those 2 cities, those 2 realms that he won was Elymas and in the country of Persia. Now from there, let me get Daniel chapter 8 and 10. So the 2 realms that he ran, the 2 realms that he had control over, that was talked about in verse 1 and 16. First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 16. First Maccabees 6 and 1 through 4, just let you know those 2 realms that he was talking about. So give me Daniel chapter 8 and verse 10.
Daniel chapter 8 and verse 10. And it was great, even to the host of heaven, and it cast down some of the hosts and of the stars to the ground, and stamped upon them.
All right there. Do anyone here know who was the host of heaven in this verse? Who's the host of heaven that was talked about in this verse? Want to read it again?
Yeah, I'll read it again. Daniel chapter 8 and verse 10. And it waxed great, even to the host of heaven, and it cast down some of the hosts and of the stars to the ground, and stamped upon them.
Huh? Well, let's get it. Let's see who the host of heaven was in that verse. Let's get Exodus chapter 12 and verse 41. I'll show you who the host was.
Stars.
You want to jail, coach?
The person that you said in the computer again.
Oh, you say in the beginning that's the host?
Yeah, 8 and 10.
Yeah, 8 and 10.
Daniel chapter 8 and verse 10. And it was great even to the host of heaven.
What? Who was great? It was great.
It waxed.
It waxed.
Great.
Wax.
Yeah.
Wax is the host.
Don't die over that now. What we went, Exodus what?
Exodus chapter 12 and verse 41.
Exodus chapter 12 and verse 41. And it came to pass at the end of the 430 years, even the self-same day it came to pass, that all the hosts of the Lord went out from the land of Egypt.
Mm-hmm. Get forth.
The Israelites. Who's those?
You got it. Ain't gonna right.
So 40.
Yeah.
All right, verse 40. Now the sojourning of the children of Israel who dwelt in Egypt was 430 years.
All right. So as you heard, bro say it was the Israelites. That was the host of heaven. Okay. Now Antiochus cast many Israelites, small, great, to the ground in war, and stamped upon them by indoctrinating them with his philosophies. That's how he stamped them down. Tell them that we all are one. Celebrate birthdays. Eat his word. Forcing it on our people. So he spread a lot of wicked philosophies. That the gymnasium stuff came around his time as well. He indoctrinated our people with so much sickness and wickedness. That's how he was able to conquer them. Wicked motherfucker. Let me get Daniel chapter 8 and verse 11.
You said gymnasium? That's it.
Yeah, that.
Not gym, like gym period. Remember, gym comes from the word gymnos in Greek, meaning to exercise naked, which is why you see in locker rooms a lot of players they get naked. It's all spiritual tie.
Right. Gymnasium, you got men. You might as well say they naked because they got on a one-piece suit tight.
They would make them perform in a bowl, which is now known as a stadium, a dome,
right?
All those types of things.
Right. Back in the day, it was still called stadium because that's what they did. They that junk when they had to go and fight the lions and all that stuff in it too. They ain't shot 8 verse 9. My fault.
You said 8 and 9.
Yeah, I mean 8 and 11.
8 and 11. Daniel chapter 8 and verse 11. Yeah, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down.
So Antiochus magnified himself even to the Lord, and ended the daily sacrifice in the place of the Lord's sanctuary. The temple was defiled. So, this how wicked he was. He tried to magnify himself so greatly, so big, that the Lord was like, okay, I see you. Try to magnify yourself. We're going to see what's going to happen to you. That he sent his wicked behind people in there to defile the temple that was holy, putting all kind of sorts of wickedness inside the temple. Let me see. First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 44. Let's get it there. 1 and 44.
First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 44. For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land.
45.
And forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days.
46.
And pollute the sanctuary and holy people.
47.
Set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts.
This is how they defiled the temple. They brought in all kind of their idols inside the temple. You know, just look at all the Greek history. They put all these statues of these false gods up. Athena. There's too many of them. Aries, don't make me go down the list.
The lady in New York.
The Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, Statue of Liberty.
Right. And then, not only that, they put one of the most wickedest flesh up in there. They put swine up in there. I bet the Most High was like, oh, man.
What they say? These niggas got some balls.
You can't believe it. In my sanctuary. And not only did they bring the swine flesh in there, they brought other unclean beasts in there. They done brought them some of them crabs up in there. They defiled the Most High sanctuary. How brave can they be? I just call them big idiots. Daniel chapter 8 and verse 12. Then it also told you that he wrote letters. Yeah, it told you he wrote letters to all of the Israelites. And, you know, us who was in Jerusalem, in the city of Judea, that they should follow the strange laws as well.
Mm-hmm.
Check this guy out. Okay, let's get Daniel chapter 8 and verse 11.
Hey, bro, was that a stone hole?
I gotta say 12.
I mean, 12. This man.
Daniel chapter 8 and verse 12.
Uh-huh.
And the host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression. And it cast down the truth to the ground. And it practiced and prospered.
All right. The host that was given to Antiochus, who was ruling at the time, was disobedient and wicked Israelites who rebelled against the Most High God's laws, a sacrifice for mercy by reason of their desire to sin, and cast down the truth, the Most High commandments. Can you believe this? That some of our people that got out of their damn mind and was like, let's follow aboard. For their own desires, own personal gains. Right. Setting up some damn gymnasium and you're training them up. Oh man. Let's get Psalm chapter 9. Psalm chapter 119 and 151. This is how these people wanted to prosper. Psalm chapter 119 and verse 151.
Psalms chapter 119 and verse 151. Thou art near, our Lord, and all thy commandments are truth.
So they wanted to get rid of keeping the laws and commandments because you know it's how our people is now. They see what the heathen doing. They feel like they want to do the same thing. They want to get rid of the Most High God's laws and commandments to go do what the heathen we're doing. Now understanding that we got the greatest God on the planet. Can't be beaten, can't be touched. He undefeated. That's a forever undefeated record. Now let me, and they did all that to be forgotten and practice sin and prosper in sin.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they did it, so they can prosper in sin. To break the Most High God's laws and commandments, yeah, you're trying to prosper in sin. A lot of our people do it nowadays. Let me get Daniel chapter 8 and verse 13.
Daniel chapter 8 and verse 13. Then I heard one saint speaking, and another saint said unto that certain saint which spoke, how long shall be the vision concerning the daily sacrifice and the transgression of desolation, to give both the sanctuary and the host to be trodden underfoot?
Nah. From there, let's go to First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 37 through 38. The reason why I'm going
Is it 37?
Yeah, First Maccabees chapter 37 and verse 38.
Chapter 37. You said chapter 37?
Now, if I said chapter, my fault. First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 37 through 38.
First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 37. Thus they shed innocent blood on every side of the sanctuary and defiled it, insomuch that the inhabitants of Jerusalem fled because of them. Whereupon the city was made an habitation of strangers, and became strange to those that were born in her, and her own children left her.
And that was to explain the transgressions of desolation. These wicked behind Negroes wanted to go shed innocent blood on every side of the sanctuary, so they can defile it, so they can keep on prospering in their sins and their wicked desires. From there, let's go to Daniel chapter 8 and verse 14. Don't make no damn sense
At all. Daniel chapter 8 and verse 14. And he said unto me, unto 2,300 days, then shall the sanctuary be cleansed. Thank you.
So 2,300 days was the historic account of the abomination of desolation, which first occurred approximately from 171 BC to 165 BC. And they shall the sanctuary to be cleansed, meaning restored unto the Most High. Here's come the Feast of Dedication. Now, this prophecy continues in Daniel chapter 11 and verse 31. So let's go to Daniel chapter 11 and verse 31.
Okay, James.
Yeah, Daniel chapter 11 verse 31.
Daniel chapter 11 and verse 31. And arms shall stand on his part, and they shall pollute the sanctuary of strength, and shall take away the daily sacrifice, and they shall place the abomination that maketh desolate.
And power shall stand on Antiochus' part, and the Greeks shall pollute the Most High sanctuary, and shall end God's laws of sacrifice for sins. And they shall place in the sanctuary idols, and fear the Lord shall flee. Mm-hmm. That's what they tried to punish. When Antiochus became into power, he was like, you know what? Sin sacrifice, let's get rid of that. Keeping the feast, let's get rid of that. Y'all eat abomination, let's continue that. That's what he wanted. Let's set up idols so that the fear of the Lord shall flee out of our people's mind. Daniel chapter 11 and verse 32. Give verse 32.
Verse 32. And such as do wickedly against the covenant shall he corrupt by flatteries. But the people that do know their God shall be strong and do exploits.
So the people that know their God shall be strong and do exploits. Begins with the Levites, Mattathias, and those that gather unto him. First Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 19.
Get it.
First Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 19.
Excuse me.
How the hell you say that?
Yeah, 2 and 19.
Yeah.
Mattathias.
All right. Then Mattathias answered and spake with a loud voice, though all the nations that are under the king's dominion obey him, and fall away every one from the religion of their fathers.
That's right.
And give consent to his commandments.
Jump to verse 42 through 47. There was a lot of history, coach.
So, this point in time, Mattathias, like everybody else scared of him, they gonna consent to him, right?
Right.
Now Mattathias is one of our people, Israelites.
Yeah, Levite.
Look what he said. Mattathias said, y'all might be scared of running from him,
But I'm not.
let's hit it. let's get it.
42 through 47.
First Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 42. Then came there unto him a company of Assassins, who were mighty men of Israel, even all such as were voluntarily devoted unto the law. Also all they that fled for persecution joined themselves unto them, and were and were a state unto them. So they joined their forces and smote sinful men in their anger, and wicked men in their wrath. But the rest fled to the heathen for succor. Then Mattathias and his friends went round about and pulled down the altars. And what children soever they found within the coast of Israel uncircumcised, those they circumcised valiantly.
Oh my God.
Right, because remember, what was one of the things that they wouldn't allow us to do to our children?
Circumcised.
So when they went in and they found the Israelite that was uncircumcised, circumcised.
Right.
This brother, what you mean is Mattathias, one of the slogans that we use, the lion heart.
I'm telling
You
you.
could see the lion come out this brother.
Listen, Mattathias, and you heard he had some great men come in. They were like, shit, we ain't scared neither. What's up? We want some too.
That's one nation right
Shit, who
now.
wants some? They came around like Mattathias. You need help, brothers? No problem. Who else we got to whoop? He said they even killed the sinful man. Oh, you over there eating pork? Goodbye.
You consented to the ways? Goodbye.
Right. Oh, you up there worshiping this idol in the Most High sanctuary? Kill that nigga. Goodbye. They was getting them up out of there.
Right.
So the exploits they did was smote sinful men, pull down pagan altars, circumcise all the children they find that were not circumcised, and recovered the book of the law out of the hand of the Greeks, which they had stolen. They started to steal. They stole this. Mattathias and them said, "Oh, we need that back, player." And we ain't talking about by choice, but by force. Let me get that. Now let's go to Daniel chapter 11 and verse 33 through 34. Mattathias was a bad man.
Well, I hear.
Big hammer.
Daniel chapter 11 verse 33. And they that understand among the people shall instruct many. Yet they shall fall by the sword, and by flame, by captivity, and by spoil many days. Now when they shall fall, they shall be hoping with a little help, but many shall cleave to them with flatteries.
Right. So when Mattathias died, Israel was given a little help, and Mattathias' son, named Judas, who was called the Maccabee, meaning the hammer. The Lord used Judas to cleanse the sanctuary as prophesied in Daniel chapter 8 and verse 14. From there, let me get Daniel 11 and 35.
Daniel chapter 11 verse 35. And some of them of understanding shall fall, to try them, and to purge, and to make them right, even to the time of the end, because it is yet for a time appointed.
Right. Judas Maccabee finally fell in battle as did each of the brothers who fought on his side. Daniel chapter 11 and verse 36.
Verse 36. And the king shall do according to his will, and he shall exalt himself and magnify himself above every god, and shall speak marvelous things against the God of gods, and shall prosper till the indignation be accomplished. For that is determined shall be done.
I told you there's a lot of history in here before we even get to that, coach. You thought I was joking? So the king Antiochus shall do according to his own will, and exalt himself above every god. Hence, he took the name Epiphanes, Epiphanes, meaning God manifests on earth. That's why he took on that name. So now, let's get some history of the account.
Get it.
Let me do my job. Thank you.
Let's get it.
Get out. You just wrote the Get them out. First Maccabees chapter 4 and verse 1. We're going through that.
First Maccabees chapter 4 and verse 1. Then took Gorgias 5,000 footmen and 1,000 of the best horsemen, and removed out of the camp by night, to the end he might rush and upon the camp of the Jews, and smite them suddenly. And the men of the fortress were his guides. Now when Judas heard thereof, he himself removed, and the valiant man with him, that he might smite the king's army, which was at Emmaus. While as yet the forces were dispersed from the camp, in the mean season came Gorgias by night into the camp of Judas. And when he found no man there, he sought them in the mountains, for said he, these fellows flee from us.
Boy, Judas played some chess moves on him. He came in and like, yeah, they're going to be asleep. We're going to sneak into their camp and we're going to kill every last one of them. Not knowing that Judas already had got word that she's like, oh yeah, but then let's go ahead and clear out, and we're gonna set them up that way.
But as soon as it was day, Judas shewed himself in the plain with 3,000 men, who nevertheless had neither armor nor sword to their minds.
They ain't give a damn about no sword or no armor. They came in there for war. I mean, I don't give a damn about your horses, your shields, none of that. What you want to do.
Right. And they saw the camp of the heathen, that it was strong and well harnessed, and compassed round about with horsemen, and these were expert of war. Then said Judas to the men that were with him, fear ye not their multitude, neither be ye afraid of their assault. Remember how our fathers were delivered in the sea, in the Red Sea,
right,
when Pharaoh pursued them with an army.
Right.
Now therefore let us cry unto heaven, if peradventure the Lord will have mercy upon us, and remember the covenant of our fathers, and destroy this host before our face this day, that so all the heathen may know that there is one who delivereth and saveth Israel.
Getting ready to go to war, he finna tear these heathens up.
Then the strangers lifted up their eyes and saw them coming over against them. Wherefore they went out of the camp to battle. But they that were with Judas sounded their trumpets. So they joined battle, and the heathen, being discomfited, fled into the plain.
They got the hell up out of there.
Howbeit, all the hindmost of them were slain with the sword.
So they ass up. Oh, y'all left behind? Oh, you boys done butt though, y'all. I thought they was real warriors. Well, y'all gotta die.
For they pursued them unto Gazra, and unto the plains of Idumea, and Azatoth, and Jamnia, so that there were slain of them upon 3,000 men. This done, Judas returned again with his host from pursuing them, and said to the people, be not greedy of the spoils, and as much as there is a battle before us.
Right, don't get distracted with taking up all the spoils and goods. Hey, we still gotta fight. You start focusing on everything else, what's gonna happen? You're gonna start dying. Right. They're gonna start slaying us. I tell you what, you can keep going. Let's kick this ass and let's keep it moving. Now from there, let me get 2 Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 18.
Second Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 18. Therefore, whereas we are now my bad. Therefore, whereas we are now proposed to keep the purification of the temple upon the 5 and 20th day of the month of Caslu, we thought it necessary to certify you thereof, that ye also might keep it, as the Feast of Tabernacles, and on the fire, which was given us when Nehemiah offered sacrifice. After that, he had builded the temple and the altar. Read.
No, you ain't got to read no more. But this is how the Feast of Dedication came into play. Our brethren going over there and fighting against these Grecians in the time they was making our people do all kinds of pollution and wickedness to the altar of the Most High God. So at this time, Judas Maccabee took up some men of Israel who weren't scared. like all the rest of the brothers was. And went against and told Antiochus' army up. And then they went to restore and re-sanctify and purify the tabernacle, not the tabernacle, but restore the temple. Which now brings us to why we celebrate this. The Feast of Hanukkah, which is also, the Feast of Dedication, which is also known as the Feast of Lights or Hanukkah. Now, that's all the history I have for the Feast of Tabernacles. I said Tabernacles, didn't it? My fault for the Feast of Dedication.
Yeah, let me let you do your job.
Yeah,
Give me 2 Maccabees.
All right.
2 Maccabees chapter 10, verse 5 to 6.
I appreciate it.
2 Maccabees, chapter 10.
Go ahead.
2 Maccabees, chapter 10 and verse 5. Now upon the same day that the strangers profaned the temple, on the very same day it was cleansed again.
On the very same day that they profaned the temple, it's on the very same day it was cleansed again. Come on.
Even the 25th day of the same month, which is Calcleo.
Which is what we brought out earlier when the time is for it to be celebrated, right? So now go to let's read on, finish out 6.
And they kept 8 days with gladness.
So how long does this feast to be kept? 8 days. Go ahead.
As in the Feast of Tabernacles.
Uh-huh.
Remembering that not long afore they had held the Feast of Tabernacles, whereas they wandered in the mountains and danced like beasts.
All right. So now, when it says we wandered through the wilderness, y'all know because of the Feast of Tabernacles, y'all know the history of that already now, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that's when we left up out of Egypt. And we wandered through the wilderness for 40 years. Yeah. All right. So go to 2 Maccabees, chapter 4.
And we weren't supposed to go the ways of the heathen, and we did.
Yeah, that came later.
Because the Moses of God did something, or we thought that he was going to send out food and bread or something.
Oh, no, they were just murmuring. They were murmuring at that time. Start at 52.
Born in 52?
Yeah.
52. You said 2 Maccabees?
1 Maccabees, chapter 4, verse 52.
All right. 1 Maccabees, chapter 4, and verse 52. Now on the 25th day of the 9th month, which is called the month Calcleo.
Right, so we keeping Feast of Dedication, which y'all already know we in the second night already.
Mm-hmm.
So if we keeping it now, when is the 9th month according to the Hebrew calendar? Right.
In the 148th year, they rose up betimes in the morning and offered sacrifice according to the law upon the new altar of burnt offerings, which they had made. Look at what time and what day the heathen had profaned it. Even in that was it dedicated with songs and citherns and harps and cymbals.
Right. So this is what is letting you know is what? A joyful convocation.
Mm-hmm.
This is a celebration. Come on.
Then all the people fell upon their faces, worshiping and praising the God of heaven, who had given them good success.
Right, because remember, our brothers went out against the heathens when they was putting everybody to flight and making everybody convert into wicked ways of sin, and every other nation was afraid of them. We had brothers amongst us, Judas Maccabee, Mattathias, the Levites. We had brothers that said, fuck that, we going to war fighters. And instead of being put to flight, they went out and they won our temple back, and it was dedicated back to the Most High. Come on.
And so they kept the dedication of the altar 8 days.
Letting you know again, how long is the Feast of Dedication?
8 days.
How is it supposed to be kept? The first day is a what?
Sabbath.
And the last day is a what?
Sabbath.
So throughout, excluding the first and the last day, are you allowed to buy, shop, clean, and all that stuff? Right. The first and the last day you can't buy and all that type of stuff.
Keep reading.
Finish that verse.
And offered burnt offerings with gladness.
Right. So It would be pointless for us to call it a feast of dedication if you're not supposed to be feasting.
Right. And the sacrifice of deliverance and praise.
All right, and deliverance and praise. Deliverance and praise. Deliverance is the temple back into us and back to the Most High. And we give praise to the Most High, which is why we do the class and the history of it. But this is our celebration. You're celebrating. For those of you who can't get over the fact that the white man is our enemy, you got a problem with this feast day because you are celebrating the ass whooping that we put on them. Pass it back to you if you want to close it out.
Let me see this one. Remember we spoke about Jason in here? Show you another one of his acts that he did in 2 Maccabees chapter 4 and verse 19.
Celebrating the ass whooping put on the white people.
Right.
Okay. Ain't nothing wrong with that. They celebrate the ass whooping they put on the Indians.
Right.
Everything's good.
Oh, that's too. 4th of July.
Yep.
Is that 19?
Yeah, verse 19.
We wasn't. Still in slavery.
Second Maccabees, chapter 4 and verse 19. This ungracious Jason sent special messengers from Jerusalem, who were Antiochians, to carry 300 drachms of silver to the sacrifice of Hercules, which even the barriers thereof thought fit not to bestow upon the sacrifice, because it was not convenient, but to be reserved for other charges.
So Jason, wicked ass, also had our people going to bring sacrifices to Hercules. All kind of manners of wickedness, and he put his hands in there to advocate the wickedness. Well, let me raise up a gymnasium so we can go in there and work out and now train them up, even though they all naked. Let me send some of the messages from our place and put heathen in our land so we can go sacrifice to Hercules. He also brought money to them as well. All this wickedness. And Mattathias, they told some ass up. So now we get to celebrate the Feast of Dedication. Which I say all glory to the Father.
All glory.
Happy Feast of Dedication.
Happy feast.
Let's close it out.
Matthew chapter 26 and verse 6. Now when Jesus was in Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, they came unto him a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointment, and poured it on his head as he sat at meat. But when his disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, to what purpose is this waste? For this ointment might have been sold for much and given to the poor. When Jesus understood it, he said unto them, why trouble ye the woman? For she hath wrought a good work upon me. For ye have the poor always with you, but me ye have not always. For in that she hath poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial. Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also this that this woman have done be told for a memorial of her.
Right. So no matter where we are, no matter where we go, as long as we are teaching this Bible, we are commanded to bring out what the sister have done for Christ, for his burial, for a memorial of her, showing that your sisters are important and it's true. Just go ahead, do your job, continue to keep these Lord's commandments. With that, I'll say happy Feast of Dedication.
Shalom, happy feast.
Shalom, happy Feast of Dedication.
Hey, isn't that the mark of the beast thingy, that symbol that you was just doing?
I don't know what the fuck.
That symbol, that's the mark.
No, to him that